to Let's Talk Law, your go-to guide to the civil legal world. I'm your host, Michelle Wargo, and I'm here to help you understand the law. I'm not a lawyer, but I believe in legal access for all. Together, we'll make sense of the legal system and empower ourselves with the knowledge we need. Welcome to Let's Talk Law. Disasters can strike without warning, leaving devastation in their wake. When the storm clouds clear, the real battle begins, navigating the complex world of insurance claims. Understanding your rights, knowing your policy, and effectively communicating with your insurance provider can make all the difference. We'll break down the legalese, provide expert tips, and empower you to take control. Joining us today in the Let's Talk Law studio is insurance attorney Brooke Boltz from Boltz Legal.
Insurance law can be a number of things, but the primary practice area that I focus on is home insurance cases. That involves cases in which homeowners or business owners or commercial property owners have been denied or underpaid wrongfully by their insurance company. And I assist them with getting the proper payment so that they can repair their home or building.
As Brooke explains, your policy is your contract with your insurance company. It's important to know what it covers and what it doesn't.
The safest thing to do is to reach out to a professional who specializes in this field, like an attorney who can walk you through the steps. It's also useful to have an attorney on board because of those exclusions and those things that you often, as a homeowner, don't know what they mean. Or, I mean, how many people sit and read an insurance policy when it comes in the mail? I do because I work in this field. But before I started working in this field, before I became a lawyer, I didn't look at my insurance policy. I just took oftentimes whatever's the most affordable policy, which is what many people do, and hoped that no problems ever arose. And I think a lot of people take that perspective in that they just think they have insurance, think they're full coverage, only to find out when disaster strikes that they didn't have the coverage they thought they did.
After a disaster, there is a clock that starts ticking for when you can submit an insurance claim. Brooke explains what to watch out for.
What people need to know after being a victim of hurricane damage to their home is that there are certain deadlines in place specifically for flood claims. There's only a 60-day window from the date of the storm to file what's called a sworn proof of loss. The sworn proof of loss is going to require you to have estimates of what the damages to your property are. So it's something you can't wait till the end or the last minute to put together. And it's basically you swearing that this is the amount of the damages to your home or your property. It's got to be signed and notarized by you and submitted to that insurance company within 60 days. So that's just one thing to be aware of if you have a flood in your home. But there's other deadlines and other things that you have to be aware of. That's why hiring a public adjuster or an attorney to assist you with that process can really help guide you and make sure you follow all the proper steps and meet all the deadlines.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Document every detail of the damage to strengthen your claim. What happens if your home floods during a storm?
If you don't have flood insurance, unfortunately, there's not going to be any recourse against an insurance company. You can make a claim with FEMA, and FEMA will generally pay some amount. Usually it's not going to be enough to repair your entire home, but it's worth making the claim so that you can get whatever you can. But many people in that situation, unfortunately, are having to take out lines of credit or other payment methods to be able to pay to fix their home.
After the break, we will hear more from attorney Brooke Boltz about insurance claims, this time with information specific to renters. Stay tuned. You're watching Let's Talk Law.
We are from different races,
cultures,
religions,
Our families are diverse and wonderful.
We have unique abilities.
And sometimes superpowers.
But we all have one thing in common.
The right to be free from discrimination
in obtaining and keeping our housing.
If you feel you are the victim of housing discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender, familial status, or disability, contact us.
Entertainment, information, and events. You're watching The Daily 2.
Hi, I'm Megan Clementi, and you're watching The Daily 2. Today, more and more people are finding themselves in need of legal counsel. Fortunately for them, there are organizations that can help. Organizations like Community Legal Services. With us today is attorney Vanessa Clark, a pro bono volunteer with CLS. Vanessa, welcome to The Daily 2.
Thank you, Megan. I'm so happy to be here.
How long have you been a volunteer with CLS?
I've been volunteering since September 2021.
And why is this become so personally important for you to be involved in pro bono work?
I can tell you that there's a quote on the internet that goes, you may not be able to change the world, but you can change the world for one person. And that is, I think, at the heart of the pro bono work for me. It's that there is somebody out there who does not have access to legal resources. They don't know where to go. There's so much information, and not all of the information on the internet is good. So for them to have some place to turn to, which is Community Legal Services, and to be able to help make a difference in their world is part of the reason why I do pro bono work.
You are clearly so passionate about it. So how do you convey this to your colleagues and let them understand how important pro bono work is in the legal profession?
So last year I engaged in the Peer Academy bankruptcy class that was provided by Community Legal Services. This was a program spread out over the course of several months that was designed to really teach lawyers how to practice bankruptcy law. And bankruptcy is very complicated. It's a very niche area. So to be able to have access to the mentors, the resources, all of the information that I need really at my fingertips was just a huge life changer for me.
Amazing. Vanessa, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Community Legal Services provides direct legal assistance to those in need, and anyone can take advantage of the legal advice and education Community Legal Services provides online at clsmf.org. Till next time, I'm Megan Clementi with The Daily 2.
Everyone should have an equal opportunity to use and enjoy their home. Housing providers cannot limit you to what floor you live on or which amenities you can use in fear of endangering yourself. If you are visually impaired, you can request a reasonable accommodation or modification from your housing provider. If you feel you are the victim of housing discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender, familial status, or disability, contact us.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Law, your go-to guide to the civil legal world. I'm your host, Michelle Wargo, and today we are speaking with insurance lawyer Brooke Boltz. She's given us a lot of information about insurance claims for homeowners, but now she explains the importance of insurance if you are a renter.
So renter's insurance is important because if you are a renter, the property itself may have coverage, but it's usually only going to be for the building and the structure. So all your contents and all your belongings that are in that home aren't generally going to be covered by the landowner's policy. So with your renter's policy, you can get reimbursed for any losses you have to the contents of your home. Something that I think is important to ask your insurance agent at the time you're purchasing a policy is about the water damage coverage. There are many policies out there right now that only provide $10,000 worth of coverage in a water event. So if a pipe bursts, floods your home, you may have a water exclusion entirely. Some policies have that, or you may only have $10,000 worth of coverage, which is next to nothing when it comes to a major water event. People also don't realize that just hiring the companies who come in with the fans, that the fans alone can cost $10,000 or close to it. So what some people find is that by the time the insurance pays the bills to dry out the home, there's nothing or next to nothing left for them to actually fix the home with. So you really need to find out what your water damage limit is if you, at the time you're purchasing your policy. People assume, oh, I've got a $300,000 policy or a $500,000 policy. They don't realize that within that policy, there is a water damage limit. And that's a very important question to ask at the time you're getting insurance.
Navigating the claims process can be daunting. Brooke shares ways we can avoid common pitfalls that can jeopardize a claim.
Navigating insurance claim can be a complicated process. And when homeowners get a letter in the mail saying you're denied because of XYZ reasons, you may just be inclined to accept their reason as the gospel truth and move on with your life. What you may not realize is that that's the same reason they are denying or underpaying thousands of people. And if you just take the extra step to get a lawyer involved to help you, the chances of you getting that claim paid are very high. There's a low percentage of people who take that step to hire a lawyer, but the ones who do have a very high percentage of success. So that's something to keep in mind when you're weighing the pros and cons of whether to move forward. Those people who let it go and do nothing, they recover nothing. But those who do take the step to hire a lawyer oftentimes are successful in getting the money they need to fix their home.
It's important to know your rights and explore legal options if your insurance claim is denied or undervalued. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. By arming yourself with knowledge and taking proactive steps, you can rebuild your life and emerge stronger from disaster. When we return, we will travel to the WFTV studios for Law Talk with Jeff Harvey and Q McCrae. Stay tuned. You're watching Let's Talk Law.
The property manager persistently came on to me. He offered me free rent in exchange for favors and threatened to evict me if I refused.
I am afraid that he has a master key and lets himself in anytime he wants. As a single parent with young children, I can't afford to leave.
Sexual harassment is against the law. If you feel like you are the victim of housing-related sexual harassment, you are not alone. Contact us today.
Entertainment, information, and events. You're watching The Daily 2.
Today, more and more people are finding themselves in need of legal counsel. Fortunately for them, there are organizations that can help. Organizations like Community Legal Services. With us today is Victoria Zinn of Zinn Legal, a pro bono volunteer with CLS. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you.
Victoria, you've been an active member since 2019 with Community Legal Services. What has it meant personally to be a part of this pro bono work?
So for me personally, whenever I sit down with a client who comes to me and they're truly just at their wits' end, they don't know what to do, they can't afford an attorney, they really don't know where to turn. You can always see on their face that they're disappointed, they're worried, they're scared, they don't know who can help them, if anyone can help them. So when I sit down with them and start going over their options, and usually there are many options available to them.
So what does that mean to you to be able to provide that for someone else?
It makes me feel so incredibly good just to see the smile come across their face when they realize that they do have options and there is a way out of their situation and they have the ability to make a better life for themselves. It just makes me feel so happy to see the smile come across their face.
Victoria, there are a lot of people out there that could potentially be doing what you're doing, but maybe they don't know. So if there are some colleagues, what would you tell them about participating in pro bono work?
Absolutely get involved. Even if you can only donate an hour or 2 hours here or there, it means the world of a difference to somebody. So that 1 or 2 hours that you're giving back is, it could be the difference between somebody having a better life and not having a better life. So really just any amount of time that you can give back is worth it.
Amazing work. Victoria, thank you so much. Community Legal Services provides direct legal assistance to those in need. Anyone can take advantage of the legal advice and education that Community Legal Services provides. You can do that online at clsmf.org. Till next time, I'm Megan Clementi with The Daily 2.
Sam was recently prescribed an emotional support animal by her doctor. Sam's housing provider has a no pet policy. She was informed that she could have her animal within certain restrictions and pay a pet deposit. Knowing this is a violation of the Federal Fair Housing Act, Sam filed a complaint.
If you feel you are the victim of housing discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender, familial status, or disability, contact us.
Community Legal Services is a nonprofit law firm that provides legal assistance and representation to low-income and vulnerable people in Central Florida. One case I can recall was a low-income woman. She was elderly, she was disabled, and she had been living in a home for 13 years that she did not own. And the home had been abandoned by the previous owner, and so this woman had been doing all the things that she needed to do under the law in order to take legal ownership of the property. She was fixing it up, she had been paying the taxes, she had been doing all the things to kind of defend her potential ability to own this home. And while the law requires it to go on for 7 years, she did it for 13 years through 2 different changes in the statute. When I got involved, I first talked to the property appraiser and they confirmed that she had met all the legal requirements. Then I convinced the building department to go ahead and issue a permit under the circumstances because she would soon have title to the home. And then we initiated a case effectively to get the state to recognize her ownership of the home based on meeting all the requirements. A lot of nonprofits, are focused on meeting basic needs. They're giving people fish. And then there are nonprofits that really focus on how do we expand people's resources, how do we teach them effectively how to fish, to use the analogy. What I think Community Legal Services does is it really helps them secure their place in the pond and access to a fishing pole. We want people to know their rights, we want people to understand those pieces, but ultimately speaking, we also want to make sure that they have access to the pond, that they have the ability to use a fishing pole and they're not being taken advantage of in that effort. And that's why we believe in this idea that everybody should have access to legal aid. One of our taglines is legal aid for all. But it's incumbent upon the entire community, businesses and donors, volunteers, to ensure that all of these life's challenges can get handled through pro bono. Really, when you get down to the theoretical concepts of it, in the military, you're there to defend the American way of life and freedom, and that includes the system of government. When you look at it from a courtroom perspective, the judicial system is one of our 3 branches of government. And so in order for that to work, you have to have the intermediaries that link the people to the judicial system, which are the lawyers. And if not every citizen or not every resident in a particular area has the ability to reach out to those lawyers and get advice and get representation and really get their case right, then that's an entire part of the population that don't have access to one of the branches of government. So while we do have about 60 lawyers on staff that take cases, the real heroes in this are the volunteers. In the profession of law, there's a duty to serve the public. That's part of what makes it a profession. And this organization reaches out to lawyers all across the service area and helps them meet that duty by providing them opportunities to take cases. This last year, Tim Moran, who's one of our volunteer attorneys, he won the Tobias Simon Award, which is the highest award that the state of Florida can give to a volunteer attorney for their work. Tim Moran lives, breathes the duty of professionalism and service to the community that is incumbent in being a member of the Florida Bar. And I can't think of any better example of what every attorney should strive to be. That's absolutely the right thing to do. It's inherent in the profession. It is something that when lawyers took the oath that they committed to, not just as an obligation, but as a way of life. We cover basically any of those basic human needs you're looking for. If you're interested in helping the homeless, we do that. If you're interested in helping the hungry, we do that. If you're interested in people that don't have health care, we help with that. If you're interested in taking care of kids, we do that. If you're interested in people that have issues related to domestic violence, we do that. Veterans, we do that. Anything that you can think of pretty much that is a charitable cause, legal services in some way, shape, or form impacts that cause.
Know your rights before the next disaster strikes. At Community Legal Services, we help hurricane victims by providing no-cost legal services for housing, insurance disputes, debt collection, foreclosures, and more. Be prepared. Visit legalaccessforall.org to learn more.
Hello and welcome to WFTV's Law Talk, your guide to understanding the law and how it impacts our community.
We break down complicated legal topics for you as part of our vision to ensure legal access for all.
I'm Q McCrae alongside Jeff Harvey, who is the CEO of Community Legal Services. And together, we're here to bring you insights about the legal system and the services that support it.
We talk with influential change makers and explore their approach to these important issues.
So join us as we amplify the voices of those who are striving to make justice accessible for all. You're watching WFTV's Law Talk.
Turning complex legal jargon into everyday talk. That's WFTV's Law Talk, sponsored by Community Legal Services.
Well, I thought today would be a great opportunity to get to better know my co-host here, Jeff Harvey. Now, Jeff, we've spoken a little bit in the past, and I'm really taken by your story because you're a Central Florida native, right?
That's correct. Yeah, Q, first of all, thanks for coming on the show and partnering with us on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I grew up in Central Florida, grade school, high school, and then left for a short time, college in the Army, and then have come back.
And now you're back and you've decided to kind of switch gears, right? Moving from a serviceman to serving the people.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I spent 10 years on active duty, and that is very much a service-oriented profession.
Right.
Mission-oriented profession. And I decided to go to the transition to the law and become a lawyer. And all throughout law school, it really kind of hit me that I personally needed something that was mission and service-oriented to continue. And, you know, quite fittingly, the law as a profession is one of those things.
And what I think is really cool about community legal services is that you're really trying to help everyone, right? Especially people who may not even know how to contact a lawyer in the first place.
Yeah, sadly, 40% of Floridians can't afford legal assistance of some kind. My organization is currently equipped to handle that bottom 20%, so the poorest of the poor. Mm-hmm. But then there's that, what they call the justice gap, the 20% to the 40% that really can't afford a lawyer, nor do they qualify for my assistance. And so we're looking for ways to expand the resources available to that group, because oftentimes they're just one issue away from falling into the poverty.
Right, and if I understand correctly, people come to you, they give you their problem, and then you help them, you and your team, help them solve the problem. You find the resources that they may not even know about.
We do. We strive to find resources for them. And the way we kind of explain it to people is we don't actually provide any basic need, right? We don't provide food, shelter, safety, healthcare. We secure the rights to those, or the access to those. And so while we absolutely look to provide all of our clients with some sort of resource, you know, traditional nonprofit resource that may actually help them, for lack of a better word, get a fish or learn how to fish, we kind of use the analogy that we secure their rights to the pond. You know, it doesn't matter your scenario. If you actually don't have access to what it is that you need, you can get a handout, but it's just not going to take you very far.
For sure. And for you at home, just so you know, when he says he's going to find the right people to help you out, Jeff is well connected, I've found out. So, no, I think this is going to be great. I'm glad we're going to have this time together to help people better understand legal services and, you know, potentially get them to help that they don't even know they need yet. One of the things I love about Community Legal Services is that it's really a one shop, right? A one-stop shop for all legal needs. And if you don't know what you need help with, you and your crew will help them out.
Yeah, my firm has a thing we call a legal checkup. And you may be calling out one particular issue, but not realize that there are 3 or 4 other issues either related to it or on their way. And so, you know, while we absolutely help with the issue that you're calling about, we also try to help identify some of these other issues that if you're either ready to address them now, or you just want to know what the potential triggers are for when they're going to become a problem are, we'll share that with you too.
Terrific. So can you give us like an example of what someone might call you with and how you could potentially help them?
Yeah, so I can tell you actually one of my old cases. I had a lady who was about 76 years old. And she lived in a house that she had purchased herself. She spent her whole life kind of making money, babysitting. Mm-hmm. And she ran into some medical challenges and kind of in a moment of weakness needed help. And so she called her family and said, hey, can you help me out? And the daughter actually had her sign a contract that said, sign the house over to me and I'll move in with you, and I'll take care of everything, and I'll even take care of you until you die. She had a written contract that said this.
Wow.
So fast forward 3 months, mom's out on the street, no place to live, and the house is torn up. Payments aren't being made. And I could go into more details, but it was sad. And so a case like that, it took us about 1.5 years to at least get the equity back from the home that the mother had to begin with. And the challenge is how do you ensure somebody in that situation gets what they need, what they're entitled to, what they potentially have worked for their whole life, and at the same time get what they need tomorrow.
Right.
Just having housing available for her that she could afford in that window was a challenge for us.
Again, I love everything you stand for, but answer me this: why? Why make this switch? Why go from Mr. Everyday legal lawyer to helping the community? Why focus there?
So, Q, I think one of the interesting things is ask a law student why they went to law school. And they're going to tell you they wanted to make a difference. I think at least 9 out of 10, if not 99 out of 100, are going to say something to that effect. But sadly, because of the way the business is structured, you kind of get out, you got student loans, you've got all of these other pressures, and you find yourself so far disconnected from your purpose. And so I was fortunate enough to find myself in a situation where I could actually stick with that purpose on why I went to law school and really why I work any of the work that I've done in my life. To impact the community. I think a lot of lawyers do still want to impact the community, and they find ways to do that, small ways and some in large ways. We offer pro bono services, and so one of the resources we provide to the lawyer population is an opportunity to kind of get back in touch with that without upsetting your business and without putting you at risk and allowing you to kind of continue on the path you're on, but at the same time, not lose sight of why you transitioned into the law in the first place.
Terrific, Jeff. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for allowing me to partner with you on what I think is an awesome show. And again, the WFTV Law Talk, we're here not just to talk about the legal issues, but make them a lot easier for you to understand at home. And if you or someone you know is in need of legal assistance, of course, reach out to Jeff and his crew over at CLS, or you can just go through the rest of our website here at WFTV.com/legal.
Till next time, thanks for watching WFTV's Law Talk.
WFTV's Law Talk is sponsored by Community Legal Services.
We hope you've enjoyed this month's episode of Let's Talk Law, your go-to guide to the civil legal world. If you're interested in learning more about the topics covered today, visit us online at legalaccessforall.org. Until next time, I'm Michelle Wargo.